Cooper Show. Yeah, I believe in you. Don't believe in lucky sevens. I'm not sure about Loch Ness, but I know I believe in angels. I believe in happiness.
Good morning, everybody. I am so excited to see you. I'm so excited to be here. I'm going to try not to bounce my laptop too much. As you can tell, we are on location this morning. It is a beautiful morning, I've got to tell you. It has been so rainy in the southeast. I think the April showers has started just a little bit early. And, I feel for the kiddies. Their soccer has been canceled for like the fourth time. So, and he's got to get out of here. He's got to go get some soccer in his life, let me tell you. So hopefully next week is going to be the week. But I have, of course, a big full show for you. You're going to learn so much about yourself. You're going to learn so much about business and what it means to be a business person. Just a great, great guest today. But before I get to her intro, I'd love to be able to give a shout out to our sponsor of the morning. And that sponsor, let me make sure I have the right picture up here, is Pure Lift. Pure Lift is a great product. It is clean caffeine. That is their trademarked clean caffeine is let me find here it is. It was hiding from me. Look at that. Look at that. 0 calories, all natural, nothing artificial, easy to use, made in the USA. And it truly is. They have 4 great flavors: mixed berry, original, lemon, lime, and orange. And let me tell you a little bit about clean caffeine. So clean caffeine is from the unroasted green coffee beans. It's a hint, less than 1 milligram of stevia in each of those stir sticks. And I have a stir stick pack with me because, of course, I've got to keep my energy up this morning. So the stir stick is perfect to be able to pop into, your purse, a gym bag, something like that. It has a little, where's my camera? Find the camera. There we go. Has a little pop off piece here where you can just tap it into your drink, or you take the sticker off and it's just a slow stir so that you can get a little bit of caffeine as you go from maybe your refillable water bottle or whatever you may have. And so it's packed full of vitamin A, vitamin B complex. A unique portable energy stir stick can be stirred into your drink of choice. I've told this story a couple times. I'm going to tell it again. I loved interviewing Eric Elfstrom, which is one of the creators of Pure Lift, years ago, right? And so I thought, well, I'm going to be funny. And I made myself a tray. I had a whiskey shot. I had, all these orange juice. I had all these different types of drinks. And I'm like, all right, Eric, your information here says it's going to taste great in anything. Let's test it out. And it really did. I mean, of course, I'm not somebody that sits around and does shots all the time. So I tried to control the face. Because when you're testing something, you always want to look like, oh, this is the best thing in the world. And you can't go like that, like I usually do when I take a shot of Jack, which I do enjoy, but my face doesn't so much. So as I mentioned, they have 4 great flavors. You can go on to purelift.com. I want to be able to pull up their information so that you can write down their .com. It's PURELYFT. There it is. There's the visual so that you can write it down, but don't go anywhere because I want you to stay connected to the show. You can also get it at Best Buy, Home Depot, and Amazon, which I truly, truly love that we can now get it in so many different places. A lot of times they will do a special, especially if it's your first order, and give you a little bit off on your first order. So go over to purelift.com and get yourself some clean caffeine today. I highly recommend it. And this is something I truly use. And that's what I love about my sponsor connections, which we are actually actively looking for a few more sponsors. We don't have anybody falling off, which is wonderful. So happy, so blessed with that. But if you have a caffeinated, interesting product that you would like me to unbox, interview you, the company owner, and find out how did it all start, and be a continual sponsor of the show, then just email us at ecooperstudios@gmail.com. So Pure Lift, thank you so much for being a sponsor of this morning's show. Now, good morning. Good morning. I see a few people already connected. The beautiful Naya. Good morning. And good morning, Vincent. It is so lovely to see that people are connected. I hope that you share the show and continue to comment, because I would like to talk about the Lady of the Hour this morning. I have Dua Aly. I keep on saying Dula. It's Dua. Dua Aly is certified RTT, so it's Rapid Transformational Therapy practitioner and certified hypnotist. Her mission is to help people free themselves from negative, limiting beliefs they formed about themselves and life, so they can live the life they want for themselves. Dua is quoted saying, "In just one session and with my guidance, we will get to the root cause of the presenting issue and free you from negative emotions, providing you with tools that empower you." She's also quoted saying, "Once we get to the root cause of the issue, it's easy to then let go." And without any further ado, I'd love to bring to the broadcast Miss Dua Aly. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you had a moment in space, a slice of time for me this morning. I would love to know more. I find your bio to be a little bit unfamiliar to me. So I'd love to know more about what you do. But before we get there, tell me a little bit about where was your evolution in realizing that you had an interesting interest in RTT, Rapid Transformational Therapy, and hypnotism. Did they come together hand to hand, or did they evolve separately?
So, I have always been interested in how our mind works, especially the subconscious mind. And I used to read a lot about that and follow teachers online and neuroscientists such as Joe Dispenza and Marissa Peer, the creator of the RTT method. But the thing that was a point of evolution, as you mentioned, was when I was going through a tough time in my life. I was going through a tough divorce, and this was like an awakening for me. I found myself in a place where I felt lost. I wanted to rediscover myself, and I felt disconnected with who I really am. And this is when I found RTT, and because I'm a big believer in the law of attraction, and I believe that we attract things to our life at the right time. So here I am. I was surfing my Instagram, and I went into that video of Marissa Peer, the creator of the RTT method, inviting people who feel that this is their calling to apply and become rapid transformational practitioners or therapists. So after I finished the video, I thought to myself, this is what I want to do. This is my calling. That's what I want to do for the rest of my life. I filled the application, and then they called me for an interview. They had an interview over the phone with me for about 45 minutes. And they said, because they don't just accept anyone, and they said, no, you really have very good communication skills. You have it in you. We really want you, and we want you on board. And I joined the course. It took me 9 months to finish the course. The course should be finished minimum in 6 months or maximum in 1 year. And it took 9 months to finish the course and get certified. Mm-hmm. And here I am.
So in working with Marissa Peer, what really spoke to you in saying, yes, this is the right place. This is the right instruction system?
Actually, every single step of the course, single thing in the course taught me something. So when I joined the course, I thought I had embarked on a healing journey before I joined the course. And I thought when I joined the course that I was in a place where, in my healing journey, where I can help others pick themselves up. But then when I joined the course, I thought to myself, now, wait a minute. There's a lot of work to be done here. I'm not even halfway healed. And I learned about myself things that I never thought I would ever learn. My whole pattern of thoughts shifted. And one of the things that really stood out, or I really remind myself of almost every day, is the rules of the mind. It's one of the things that Marissa Pierce teaches in the course, and it's really powerful. And of course, here we're talking about the rules of the subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
And those rules, really, if we understand them and apply them, it will help us control our thoughts and emotions, and it will help us turn our mind into our best friend
Mm-hmm.
and most loyal ally, literally. And I find myself sometimes when I regress back to old habits or old patterns of thought, and regression, that's okay, because regression is part of growth. I understand that. I find myself reminding myself some of the rules of the mind now. And I find myself thinking, no, wait a minute, you learned that rule of the mind. Okay, so stick to it. So, for example, one of the rules of the mind that stand out for me is that your mind goes back to what is familiar,
Mm-hmm.
and avoids what is unfamiliar. So, what is familiar here doesn't have to be a good thing. It can be an addiction. It can be a bad habit. It can be even resisting the good in your life, resisting to receive the good in your life, resisting having a loving relationship, or resisting even being rich. Um, and that's why some people have money blocks. Some clients, for example, approach me with money blocks or career issues. So your mind always takes you back to what is familiar, even if what is familiar is not good for you, even if
Mm-hmm.
it's negative,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's feeling unlovable or feeling not enough. And learning that rule itself, I remind myself every day on a daily basis that, oh, your mind is going back to what is familiar. Pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
Decide to make the familiar unfamiliar, and to make the unfamiliar familiar.
Mm-hmm. That is a very, very powerful technique that is just going to magnanimously change somebody's life. I mean, you're talking about breaking the cycles. And it's interesting, as you were speaking, I was thinking about the development of the computer. You know, we've created, of course, a robotic form of the computer, but it's fearless in doing something new. And it's so interesting for me, when I was in the workforce and corporate, and something new would be presented in technology. Oh my gosh, you don't want to go to work, you don't want to do this, but it's going to make your life so much better, so much more positive. And I love that we're talking about breaking those codes and breaking how your mind wants to stick to what's familiar, although it may not be very, very good for you. Um, Obviously, I would think, and you're here to educate me, did you have to break, of course, your own mind's set codes to then be able to help others?
Of course,
And
of
how did
course,
you do that?
by following the rules of the mind and applying them, by doing this day by day. So, for example, one of the rules of the mind, and maybe all of us know it, and it's very well known and easy, is that our mind learns by repetition. So at some point in my life, I was addicted to coffee. I had to drink coffee every single morning, or I feel grumpy and I can't function. And then at some point, I thought to myself, no, I don't want to be addicted to anything.
Mm-hmm.
And what I decided to do is that, because I know that my mind learns by repetition, and it takes 21 days, as neuroscientists prove, to attain a habit. So what I did is that, and I didn't want my mind to resist me. I didn't want my mind to go back to what is familiar. So I thought to myself, okay, let me think about that. So let's say that I drink a mug that big of coffee. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to drink half this mug for 21 days. And then the next 21 days, I'm going to drink half of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next 21 days, I'm going to drink even less amount. And I did that. The first week or 10 days were not fun at all, and I was grumpy, and it was really getting on my nerve. And but after that, after the first 21 days, I was fine. The next 21 days, I was even better. I didn't crave coffee. And then the third 21 days, I woke up one day and I thought to myself, wait a minute, I haven't drank coffee for 4 or 5 days now. And I didn't even miss it. I just forgot. So that was my trick of how I tried to turn my mind into working with me instead of working against me and resisting the change.
Mhm.
So that's why understanding those rules and applying them, it's really life changing.
So I have a question, but before I get to the question, and it's related to the detox experience that you go through, that I'm interpreting that you would go through as you breaking those rules. But I do have Mr. Joe Mathis, and it's not exactly a question, but I'm going to read to you what he's saying. The question is repetition that you control or repetition you don't control. Experiences matter. The question is repetition that you control or repetition you don't control. Experiences matter. I feel like you may have something to say to that comment.
Well, of course, if you do something and you do it deliberately, you have a plan, then it is controlled. And if you regress back and the thing also, good repetition items over bad repetition items, yes, you do. You do learn good repetition items. And if you understand those two rules, at least those two rules only, that your mind learns by repetition and that your mind goes back to what is familiar, you will be able to catch yourself. You'll have enough self-awareness to catch yourself and say, wait a minute, I'm regressing to what is familiar. Okay? And if this happened, my advice to you is do not beat yourself up. Do not tell yourself, oh, I'm a bad person. How could I do that? And now look at me. I mess things up, because inner dialogue is really important. So I was a person who had a very negative inner dialogue myself. And I used to tell myself a lot of negative things about me. And I'm sure we all do. Okay. So, for example, let me ask you, Elizabeth, what are some of the negative inner dialogues that you might have or might have had?
I have some negative dialogues that now twofold. I've done a lot of work to figure out how to quiet those voices and put them where they need to be.
Yes.
But my entire life, from being a small child, it was body image, a
Yeah.
lot of body image struggle.
Hmm.
And I realized that it does not exist. It's a mirage. It's a complete mirage. And in doing some work that I've done, which I haven't studied under you, but um, that would be one.
Yeah. So I myself used to tell myself, why did you do that? Why did you say that? You always mess things up. You're
Mm,
stupid. You're an
mm,
idiot. You will never learn. I used to have that very negative inner dialogue.
mm,
And one of the things that psychological research proved, that one major reason of depression is hurtful, harsh, critical words that we tell ourselves every single day on a daily basis. So more often than not, we speak to ourselves more than we speak to anybody else in the world. So those people who say you are in your mind, we are all in our minds, by the way. So the thing is, even if you regress or if you didn't follow the plan that you had for yourself to change a bad habit, realize that you're regressing and just simply tell yourself, I'm doing the best I can with the tools I have and with the knowledge I gained. I acknowledge I made a mistake. I know I'm regressing. Regressing is part of of growing, and next time I'll do better. I learn my lesson and I'll move on.
So it's almost, that's speaking to me like parenting, rearing,
Exactly.
positive rearing. We would do that for our own children and say, it's okay if you messed up this one time. Learn from it. Learn from it. Set your boundaries, set where you want to go, and stay focused on where you want to go. But this is okay. Learn from it. And it's so interesting to me that we're not as kind to ourselves as we are to others when
Absolutely.
we have to protect our house, because if we have nothing in our house, we have nothing to offer.
I agree. I totally
Um,
agree.
when you were working on building, let's say, your house, building yourself up, what are some of the revelations you had in the power that you found of being able to control the thought process of your mind and be fully engaged in where you wanted to go mindfully?
I open the door to inner peace. I can simply say that.
Mm.
And I won't say that I'm 100% there because we're all work on progress. So some people think that practitioners or therapists have it all figured out. That's not true. We're all human and we all have our flaws. So I won't say that I'm 100% have completely 100% inner peace, but I just open the door to inner peace
Mm.
and I am able to connect to myself on a deeper level now. I'm able to handle my emotions. So one thing is that I've always been that very intellectual person who has no clue how to handle my emotions. And emotions are tricky.
Mm-hmm.
But rapid transformational therapy really provided me with tools that empowered me and helped me know very well how to handle my emotions.
I love that point that you mentioned. Okay, so let's go there. Emotions. There were some things that I learned in watching others, and I don't even know that I'm doing this right. So tell me if I'm doing this right. There are some emotions, such as jealousy, some negative emotions that I put no worth in. I look at those as useless. They're confusing. They're useless. I've never ever gotten anything good out of any jealous situation. May that be myself being jealous of something else, or vice versa. With that thought, that train of thought, right? Is it categorized that way, or do we have to put worth into each and every emotion and say they're all valid? How do we decipher?
Okay, so when we speak of jealousy or any other negative emotion, the more you resist your emotions, the more they will persist and the more they will come back and attack you in various ways. So what your emotions does is that, or wants, is that it wants your attention. So I always tell my clients, think of your emotions as a 3-year-old child.
Mm.
This child wants your attention. If you send that child away, they might go away for some time, but they will come back to bother you again, even more, because they want your attention. So it's the same with emotions. So when you have negative emotions, when you feel them, acknowledge your emotions. So
Okay.
if I feel jealous, I'll say, okay, I feel jealous of that person, but that's normal. I'm human. What is in that person that makes me feel jealous? What do they have that I think I don't have? And then the next step, what I would do is that I would say, okay, so they have that. How can I earn that? And what I do also is that I say a prayer for that person, for them to have more of what they have,
Hmm.
and for me to have what they have as well.
That's so interesting because the way that I've heard it explained time and time again is, well, it's if it's not meant for you, it's not meant for you, and you must let it go. What do you think about that?
I would say you can make it meant for you.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So let's go back to step one, where we were talking about the mind. And I'm scrolling back. We've had a lot of activity. I'm so happy to see everybody connected this morning. But we were talking about rule one: the mind learns by repetition. And the question I wanted to bring in there was embracing the detox change. So, as you had mentioned a few moments ago, it takes 21 days to form a new habit. I'm inferring break old habits, sort of hold hands there. So, as you had mentioned, coffee. Deciding that you don't want as much caffeine in your diet, in your body. So you're going to slowly detox yourself from it until you just don't even miss it anymore. And it's amazing how that happens in our body. People who crave sugar, things happen in your life, and maybe you have to get away from that for several weeks. And then all of a sudden, it tastes terrible to you when you go back to it. Tell us a little bit more about that detox process and how to stick with the process.
How thick?
How to stick with it,
How
how
to
to
stick
keep
with it?
going.
Okay. It requires awareness. So first off, you have to have a plan. What is it that you want to get rid of? And now that you mentioned sugar, this is also one thing that I followed the same technique to reduce my intake of sugar. I used to add 2 teaspoons, and when I say that, as if I'm speaking about a different person. I used to add 2 teaspoons to every single cup of tea or coffee that I drink.
Okay.
And then I thought to myself, that's not healthy, and I don't want that to control me. So I followed the same strategy. For 21 days, I added 1.5 teaspoon. Then for another 21 days, one. Then for another 21 days, half. And then for another 21 days, nothing. And now I cannot drink coffee or tea with sugar. The process needs resilience for you to understand that regression is part of growth, and that you might have to change your plan. That it's nothing is like nothing is fixed as something else. It also needs patience, and that is one thing that I myself struggle with. Some people might struggle with another process or another part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
So it needs resilience, patience, and it also needs self-awareness, so that you would realize that, oh, I'm regressing, or this is here comes again, I crave sugar again, or and it also needs growing a positive inner dialogue. So you need all those things together in order to go through anything that you want, and any habit that you want to get rid of or acquire.
It all comes back to that kindness of self, doesn't it?
Yes,
Just be kind to yourself. My
yes, yes.
goodness. And I don't say that, as that's the end all be all here. You are helping people tremendously with so many things that people struggle with. I have in your notes here negative habits, as we've been talking about, worrying. Oh, who has that right? A racing mind wakes you up middle of the night. You can't go back to sleep. You try whiteboards, you try lists, you try everything. Worrying, sadness and blues, fear, driving skills, hair loss or growth, codependency issues. What are some of the issues that you're seeing in society pop up in your practice again and again and again? What are some of the hot issues right now?
Anxiety,
Mm,
procrastination,
mm.
fear of social media, hair
Wow.
loss. Those are some of the things that I find popping up again and again. But definitely anxiety is on top of the list.
Has that, I mean, this sounds like a silly question in my mind. I've got the thoughts. We always have those voices, right? Always. 2020, the pandemic coming across, that was a very fearful event, a very unknown, different event for so many people. Do you see that anxiety is coming back to that experience, that people need to shed the experience and bring it into everyday life to move from that anxiety, or has it peaked anxiety from all different places, and it's just anxiety that you're seeing more clients now needing help with it?
Well, I've seen clients with a lot of issues, but it's anxiety that I see popping up again and again.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely the pandemic time and the lockdown, especially here in Canada, we Canadians had the longest lockdown, maybe maybe
Yes.
all over, yeah, maybe around the world. But yeah, definitely, mental health was negatively affected. We've seen a surge in mental health issues, in especially with teenagers
Mm-hmm.
and young adults. It was really a difficult time for them.
Can I get your opinion? And I think I may already know a little bit of your opinion, but prescriptions. So, I've heard so many doctors within the mental health field, psychiatrists, psychologists, especially psychiatrists, because they have prescription power. There are so many children now here in the United States, you're in Canada, but around the world, it seems like there's more and more children on prescription remedies, when it just seems to me that if you're not fixing the engine, more oil isn't going to help it to some degree.
Absolutely, I agree with you, and that's the good thing about rapid transformational therapy, is that it gets to the root cause. It gets to the root cause of the issue. And let me tell you something: there are, no matter what kind of issue that anybody suffers from, usually, as human beings, there are three main beliefs that cause all the issues that we have,
Okay.
whether it be anxiety, depression, fear of social media, procrastination, addiction, you name it.
Yeah.
Those three beliefs are, um, I'm different, so I cannot connect. The second is, I want it, but it's not available to me. And the third one is, I'm not enough. And that one is the most pervasive. The last one is the most pervasive.
That was one I struggled with. And that was a huge revelation, to be late 30s, 40 years old, and going, oh my gosh, I am not enough. I am not good enough. I am not. And it came back. I had to do the work and, break that boulder to get to the inside, to realize it was one statement that was said to me by somebody that wasn't even related to me, um, in a mildly traumatic event when I was 5. And it's like, oh my gosh, the brain, it seems like it can work against you, like it's this trap. And everything gets trapped in there, but you're helping people to be able to release that. You're helping people to be able to digest that. And I would love to be able to take a look at your website for people to be able to see, okay, how do I get started? Would you mind taking us through that?
Yeah,
Okay.
please do.
All right. And I have your website here is liberatedyouhypno.com. So if you're just listening to the show, it's www.liberatedyouhypno.com. And on this website, you're able, of course, to find out about RTT, about Dua, about your services, library. But tell me where you'd like to go. I'm going to bring it into the broadcast now.
Okay, you can go to the services page.
Okay. All right, and then on the services page, and I'm still pulling it up, so forgive me for just a moment. Go ahead and describe it for us, and we will work our way over there.
Okay.
All right, so on the services, we have free resources and packages. So tell us a little bit about the packages first, I think, and then here it is. It is in the broadcast, and then we can talk about your free resources. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, that's the home page.
Okay, yep, it is. So services and packages. All right. Ooh, you have a weight loss package.
Yes,
What?
yes, yes. Yes, I did work with weight loss clients, And now that you mentioned the incident that happened with you when you were 5 years old, and how our mind can sometimes work against us, I remember working with that client who suffered a weight management issue, and what after I regressed him. So what happens in in a rapid transformational therapy session is that I regress the client. I put the client in a state of hypnosis. I regress them back to scenes and events from their past, usually from childhood, sometimes adulthood. You can never tell. That those events are the root cause of why they ever acquired the issue or the presenting problem that they have. And turned out that that client, he was the youngest of seven siblings, and they were a very poor family. And he had four other siblings who were also male siblings. And what happened every night when dinner was served is that all his brothers or his older brothers snatch the food and race to the food, and he almost always is left out with nothing. And even in the bedroom, he didn't have a bed. He couldn't sleep on a bed because the bed was for the oldest siblings. So his mind went on and on and on. And this is how powerful our subconscious is, and how our mind can connect things that have nothing to do with each other together. So his mind went on and on and on with that thought: if only I were big, I would get what I need, or I would get what I want. So what his mind did is that, okay, you want to be big, we'll make you big. So he started to eat uncontrollably until he gained more and more weight, and he became obese. So once the client gains that understanding and knows what is the root cause of the issue that is causing them the problem, and how, when was that connection formed, and how, it's really liberating and empowering.
Oh my goodness. It's so interesting to see those roots, right? When you get down below the beautiful plant that we've grown into, and you get down into the roots and go, oh my gosh, it's this piece right here. Goodness. Okay, so I want to continue talking about the weight loss package. I know you have other packages, but I find it very interesting. I'm reading here. So 30 minutes of free discovery call, 3 RTT sessions of 90 to 120 minutes each, personalized recording after each session, 30 minutes follow-up call 10 days after the session. Oh, I love that. 30 minutes follow-up call 21 days after the session, books and supplements recommended. So this is truly, they are not only reaching out to a therapist, someone that can help them, but you're holding their hand all the way through to make sure that there's fulfillment of
Exactly.
their wants and needs.
Exactly.
And how are these connected? Is it person to person where we would have to go to your office? Do you do everything virtually?
I can work in person or virtually. It doesn't matter. Both, either ways, if you'll get the same results.
Okay.
And I want to talk a bit about the personalized recording, because the personalized recording completes the work that was done in the session. So the session is supposed to rid the client from the issue, but the personalized recording helps complete the work of this that was done in the session, because it makes sure that the issue is not coming back, and it helps rewire our brain.
Wow, I love
So
that.
it's really important. And what I do is that I create now rapid transformational therapy practitioners in general are trained to create personalized recording for the clients. I don't give generic recordings. So it's not a recording that they will find on my website. There are in the pre-resources section of that page. You will find free resources. There are two free recordings that anybody can download and listen to. Those are not part of what I give to my clients. I give personalized recordings to every single client after every session that are tweaked to their needs, to the needs of that specific client.
And is that something that they would listen to the personalized recordings during sleep or awake or both?
It's best to listen to the recording before they go to bed.
Mm.
And some clients sometimes ask me, so what if I listen to 5 minutes only of the recording and I just drift to sleep? I say, no problem. Your subconscious mind is awake.
Mm-hmm.
It's your conscious that went to sleep. Your subconscious is still awake. It's at work, actually. This is the time it works. So don't worry. Your subconscious will do the work. It will rewire. Your brain will be rewired. So that's the best time to listen to it. But it's no problem. They can listen to it in the morning as well once they wake up. Or during the day. I had some clients who put my recordings on a loop, and they used to listen to it all day when they are at work in office.
Oh my goodness. I really love that piece. That's really taking somebody out of their environment and bringing them into where they want to be, bringing them into that fully safe space. And it's amazing what the brain does once it feels like, oh, wait a minute, we're always, always safe if we always, always want to be safe.
Mhm.
What about someone who would like to have, as I've scrolled down to your website here, single RTT session? How are they different? So, for example, from the weight loss program that we saw, and of course, you do work with many clients who want to quit smoking. They have career issues, anger issues, guilt, driving skills, food, diet, weight loss, fears, hair loss, and the list goes on and on. Memory and focus. That's a big one. Birthing issues, skin problems, and so many more. So tell us how this program is slightly different from the weight loss targeted program that we just spoke about.
So weight loss, though, so it depends on the issue. I'm glad that you brought that up because some issues can be resolved in one session. Other issues can be resolved in more than one session. So it takes up to the issue should be resolved between 1 to 3 sessions generally, and this is why we call it rapid transformational therapy because it saves you years of going to therapy or years of going to talk therapy. Not that talk therapy doesn't work, it does work, but it just takes a lot of time. So what we do is that we provide the client with a fast track practical tools to make the change in their life that they want. So some issues like weight loss most probably is not going to be resolved in one session. It's going to be resolved between 1 to 3 sessions, and this is why I provide for weight loss. I provide 3 sessions, or I do it as a package. So the session between each session and the other, there should be about 21 days, at least 21 days to 1 month.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say a client came to me with a weight loss issue, then I'll give them a session this month, and then I'll give them a session the next month, and then let's say that we started in March, okay? And then I'll give them another session in April, and then another session in May. And every single session will have its own recording. Single sessions are for things that can be resolved in one session, but again, it depends not only on the issue, it also depends on the client. It depends on how long the client had the issue, how deep the issue is, and their openness to resolve the issue as well.
Okay. And so I'm scrolling here on your sessions page, study habits package. So you offer multiple packages, of course, for multiple um, challenges that people come into their life. And if they wanted to meet you in person, you are in Canada. Let's talk about the best way to contact you, because if you're not in Canada and you're really connecting with Miss Aly, you can certainly connect with her online because, there are such as so many other doctors and therapists out there, they use a telehealth situation or something similar to where you can virtually work with new clients. And I'm on the website under Contact Us. So let's just take a look at that real quick. And then if you would just tell us all how we can stay very connected with you. And then I would love to ask you about forming your own business and what has that meant to you? What have you discovered there? So let's go back to the website for just a moment. And on the Contact Us page, can you tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here? It looks like just type in your name and then your email, but what are some other ways that you would like us to follow you as well?
Other ways, you can follow me on Instagram. I have an account on Instagram, liberatedyou_hypnosis. You can just press on the Instagram sign on my website and it will take you there. You can also contact me on my Facebook page. It's liberated you. You can text me there. There is also an icon of WhatsApp on my Facebook page. If you press it, you can also send me WhatsApp message. You can connect with me on Messenger. You can also book a free consultation call with me.
I love that. I love that you have the chat option here on your website, because I'm sure that there are so many moments where people can feel overwhelmed in this process and they just need to reach out and contact you and say, okay, what do I do? I'm at a roadblock. What in the world? Now let's talk about forming this business that, as you had mentioned, you went through a divorce, you found yourself in very turbulent times. I myself went through the same thing, and a business was created, and it was a wonderful birth. However, the way that you view money, for instance, is so different from when you are working for a company, a corporation, and you are simply earning and then managing that money within your own house, versus in owning your own company. You're earning, you're managing your own house, but then there's so much more. You are like cracking that nut open and realizing, oh my gosh. So take us through some of that. What have you noticed in starting up your own business?
So I have to start by saying that um, having and running my own business is considered uncharted territory for me. So it was not easy at all, and it's still not. And the amount of things that every day I wake up, and the amount of things that I want to learn for my business, and the amount of things that I want to do is sometimes overwhelming. But I would say that it is such a beautiful journey.
Mm.
I had to change a lot of things. So, well, contrary to what people think, I had to change a lot of things in order to be able to run a business or even have a business. I had to change the way I look at myself. I had to change the way I look at money. I had to improve my relationship with money. So, because we have a relationship with everything in life, and we do have a relationship with money, and more often than not, our relationship with money is usually comes from a childhood programming. What our parents say about money, what our family goes through when it comes to money, and not only our direct family, by the way, also our ancestors. So
Mhm.
one of the books that I read that also made a big change in my life. I read that book right before I joined the RTT course, but I also find that it was really eye-opening. That book is called "It Didn't Start with You" by Mark Wallen,
Okay.
and that book is all about how the inherited family trauma passes through, or is passed through generations. So, and this is scientifically proven. By the way, they made experiments on they conducted experiments on rats, that
Hmm.
how the rats would have the same response that their grandparents had to a certain stimulant without even going through the trauma themselves. So a trauma that one of my grandparents had been through, for example, when it comes to money or relationships or whatever, can affect me, and I can have the same response, even though I didn't go through the trauma myself.
Wow.
So that book is really powerful. It opened my eyes to a lot of things. So I had to look at a lot of aspects of my life when I read the book and think, okay, so this is where um, the money programming comes from, or this is where
Hmm.
the relationship programming comes from, or this is why my relationship with my children or my friends or with this or that, this is why I attract those people to my life. So it was really eye-opening. So I had to change in order for me to be able to run a business. I had to change a lot of old programming about myself and my relationship with money, and had to work a lot on myself and read a lot of books and
Mhm.
follow a lot of teachers that I would never think that I would ever think of following them.
Oh, I love that. I love the journey. Isn't it? It's such a beautiful journey. I'm a mother, and just the journey to motherhood is amazing. And there's so many obvious things that you realize that you'll have to go through and learn and be blessed by. And then there's so many unknown things. And you don't know what you don't know. And I love hearing about your journey and the time that you've spent to tell us about your journey. I did pull up that book. It is available currently on Amazon. It didn't start with you, and that is by Mark Wolin. What an interesting book. I'm glad that you mentioned that. As you were talking, I went out there and wanted to find the book so that we can see what it looks like. So if you are only listening to the show, it's called It Didn't Start With You by Mark Wolin. That's last name is spelled Wolynn. And that is the author of that book. So,
Another book I would recommend
mhm.
before we move on is I Am Enough by Marissa Peer. This is also a powerful book. This is one of the books that I learned a lot.
Okay, let me find her book. Would you mind telling us a little bit about that book? It's called I Am Enough.
That book walks you through habits of successful people. It walks you through a lot of things. It walks you through a lot of programming that we had about money, about relationships, about our relationship with food as well. It walks you through some of the practical habits that you can attain if you want to be a successful person.
I love that. It looks like her book is offering a free hypnosis download as well. Mark your mirror and change your life. Wow, what an interesting book. So, again, this is called I Am Enough by Marissa Peer, and the author's name is spelled Marisapeer. Also available now on Amazon. I love these recommendations. Thank you so much. And thank you for what you're doing, because you're giving the full program, not just coming in and saying, oh, this will work. I promise this will work. And we do one piece. You're doing so many pieces and then continuing with your clients. Have your clients recommended you to family members, and you find that you're getting a lot of referrals because of your
Yes,
program?
yes. I had a client of mine who referred me to her sister.
Wow. Is it interesting? And I know that, client confidentiality, you won't, of course, tell me. So don't answer the question if you can't answer the question. But are the roots connected?
No,
Wow.
absolutely different, even though the issue was the same. So both sisters suffered the same issue, but every single sister had a different root cause.
Isn't that
Yeah,
amazing?
yeah. How powerful our minds are, right?
Really, really, and truly. Now, we have just talked about a few books that you do recommend, and they're very powerful books, and I'm extremely tempted, if not absolutely, going to go on Amazon, go get them. Have you thought about writing a book?
Yes, yes, I do. I'm thinking of writing a book, and I think I really want to share my journey with others. I believe that everyone has a story to tell,
Mhm.
and I think that sharing my story will definitely help others. It will inspire people who are in a place in who are passing through difficult times in their life, to provide them with hope, to give them hope that they can take any negative experience that they are going through and make something out of it, build something out of it.
If you could give one suggestion to somebody out there that says, yes, there's a book in me, there's a book begging to get out, what would be the very first step that you have utilized for your book process that you found to be very powerful?
Um, Consistency.
Okay.
consistency, right? If you don't, even if you don't feel like it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So key to writing a book is consistency. I have so many more questions, but I don't want to take up any more of your time this morning. However, I would love to invite you back onto the program. I find you extremely valuable. I want to thank you so much for what you're doing for humanity and society. You're really helping a lot of people, and you've helped a lot of people shine a light onto what we can do, how we can break these cycles and own our own mind. It's so powerful to own it, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
So
Absolutely.
I want to thank you so much, Dua, for your time this morning. I hope that you have a lovely day in Canada, and please come back.
Thank you. Definitely, it was my pleasure.
Wonderful.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for having me. Yes, absolutely. I'd love to come back.
Wonderful. I'm excited. All right. I will see you again soon. Oh my goodness, everybody. That was a great, great show. Again, I want to make sure that you go to her website and look up. She has all those book recommendations out there and many more. She lists out her programs. Contact her. And what's so great, as we mentioned in the program, is when you do utilize her help in your journey, you're always, always connected. And that is so amazing, because how many times have we started something? May it be a diet plan, or may it be, just saying, okay, I'm going to engage in this part in my life and really stick to it. And we get in there and we start, and maybe we get lost, maybe we get overwhelmed, confused, we lose our consistency. Dua Aly is there for you. And so always go to her website, which is liberated you hypno.com, and it's scrolling at the bottom of the screen right below, so that you're able to write it down. Everybody, I hope you've enjoyed, and stay tuned. We have more shows coming up. As always, we are blessed. You are blessed. And I love you, and I will see you very, very soon.